he is the man filled with anxiety.
Maybe with the exception of if there is actually a god of directly such a thing. But so we have Bright at least in body, in spirit. Soon, I'm sure she will manifest among us. But I figured we already kind of talked about.
Just not on video yet, because...
Oh shoot! Okay, did you all hear that? It's a voice from beyond. Hey, there we go.
It's the regular kind of voice from right here.
Oh, the voice from right here. All right, you know what? We probably don't need as intense battle music anymore, because the battle mostly is overish. I probably, I think so.
You declared the battle over.
Okay.
Instead, we're gonna go straight to the.
The bubbles disappeared and I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing.
That's a thing that we need to go and fix. Because the bard not being able to hear, we're not going to be able to fight our way through literal hell completely. And
components don't necessarily mean that I have to say them with perfect intonation.
Well,
I just know how to do
more
it that way.
No, it's more a matter of you need to be able to hear when someone's speaking to you so that you can respond.
And Mordecai doesn't know a sign language.
Yeah, that's the bit.
So we have we have this battlefield now. The puddles of goo are still around. The froggy corpses, however, are not in a solid state. They're there in liquid spirit. And we'll pick up. You all achieved the victory conditions here. So I will leave it up to you to determine where we're going to start the sort of on the ground narration of what's going to happen in this session, because you have the knowledge and the methodology to put out all the fires. You're aware that contact with this goop can cause somewhat unforeseen, though partially now seen, biological circumstances. I'm putting this very mildly. And your various spells have manifested. Yeah, for example, the mage armor, Bright kind of looks like a little Hellion, and Bright, I think I don't know if I forgot to modify the mage hand. It still works exactly the same, except it does look like a very menacing claw, like has the long fingernails, but they're not done really well. Like there's a couple chips in them. It's pretty gnarly.
Oh, you're muted.
No, I'm not muted. You just don't have your ears on.
Role playing, everyone! Role playing.
Yay! But no, that is a thing that we are now in. We did say that we did put out all the fires.
Yes, and it is fine if you do. I will put out one more, if only a reminder for me as well, that there are fireballs that are randomly raining down from the sky, and the shield is currently protecting you from them. So the shield fully manifested when all of the fires were lit. Presumably when the last one goes out, the shield will at some point fade away. So as a heads up to you all, there are still fireballs that are raining down that the shield was protecting you from. That also said, the longer you keep a fire burning, and maybe it's not a big thing. If you want one fire, you can easily, like kite out the little smushy monsters and dispose of them. So you have time if you want this shield up, and whenever you're ready, you can drop it and do what you're going to do. But yes, you all are in various biological states of not yourselves, and you are in this hellscape with this sort of big obsidian tower that has this crackling lightning beacon. The sky is a roiling mass of clouds. Red lightning streaks across. Even against the shield, like as winds whip around, you can sort of see like red dust and little pebbles kind of flake off the shield. And there are circumstances where these fireballs are probably more like meteors raining down because there are these kind of charred pits here and there in the landscape.
Okay.
Yes.
So while we were cleaning up the fire pits, I probably would have gone up to join up with the others.
Okay.
Because I still had a 60-foot range on my smishing hand, and that seems like about the right distance. I would be able to reach all the fire pits, at least from the platform.
Oh yeah, you could just sort of, I guess, sort of like stifle them or kind of like squish things as they're trying to crawl up, and yeah.
Well, no, it was just to control it so I could throw goop into the fire.
Oh,
so
right.
We'll keep on lit.
Yeah.
So, Mordecai, are you going to be able to restore us? Do you have restorations?
And you notice that he's just kind of watching things as they're. It's kind of looks like he's trying to clear his ears out, but he doesn't
They're not
hear what
there.
you're saying.
They're not there. They straight up just left your head and flew off.
Okay, so I'll start tugging on Mordecai's coat.
He says rather loudly, "What?"
What? But you don't have to shout, I'm right here.
What?
You don't have to shout, I'm right here.
I can't. I don't.
You don't have to shout, I'm right here. Why do I have to shout? You're right here.
I can't hear you.
I'm gonna gather up.
And you
just a
notice that
little bit.
his voice actually sounds like he can't hear his voice.
Okay. Do any of you know what happened? Did he get...
Yeah, he got gooped.
And what happened? I mean, Casimir grew very... Oh, look, Casimir has a new token. I mean, Casimir's got nice new ears. Maybe what happened to Mordecai's ears?
Among many other things, but I'm pretty sure I saw them fly off at one point. So
Well,
I
that's
think our poor bard friend is a little deaf.
Okay, so I'm gonna use your illusion to create a writing on the floor that says, Mordecai, can you hear this?
Hear what?
The illusion. I'll use minor illusion to say the illusion.
The illusion? What? I don't understand.
Can't you hear the writing? It says on the floor.
I can't hear anything. I don't know what's going on.
I don't think writing is supposed to be heard.
Cypher simply sighs. He's deaf, right? As I'm going to gather up a little bit of that goop into a glass vial carefully using Mage Hand, which I do have.
Okay.
I didn't hear that lightning.
And after doing that and very carefully stoppering it and wrapping it up so it doesn't, there's no chance of it breaking in my pack or anything like that, and storing it away in the requisite pack, in the requisite secure locations and all of that. Cypher is going to... Would I be able to write on the air for a little using prestidigitation? Kind of in the same way that Bright's using minor illusion.
Right in the air?
Yeah, kind of like use my finger as a little pen to have a... Basically him writing with light on the air that remains for a second before disappearing. Because it does say creating that prestidigitation can create a small illusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't allow, but it's up to me.
Yeah, you create a non-magical trinket or illusory image that can fit in your hand. Oh, it can fit in your hand. Oh.
If you
Just write
want,
down hand.
I don't know if this how common it is down in Australia, but at least here stateside around Independence Day, we get sparklers and we wave them around and can write out messages because it burns so brightly that you can make RUN run kind of a thing. If you want, you can turn your finger into a sparkler and hope that Mordecai can read the letters that you're sparkling in the air.
Yeah, that was the idea.
Okay.
That was actually the idea that I had in mind. So, Cypher is gonna tap Mordecai on the shoulder and start writing U R D E A
D.
F.
I don't know what you're doing. He's gonna try a lesser restoration. He probably says the verbal component's rather loud for his own spellcasting.
Okay. The lesser restoration is like you feel some kind of an interaction with your body, but nothing else. Like your teeth don't shrink back or your ears don't grow back. Like there is an interaction of some kind. In fact, give me an insight, as this is more of a feeling. Okay. With this 15, as you cast this, you certainly feel kind of like a weird manifestation, or rather a relief, and your ideas that you've been starting to hold on to after having been stirred up, these reactions of aggravation or violence or some impulses of maybe very selfish thoughts, or even some sort of a regret, but it's more of a rage-filled regret than a sad one. These begin to lessen in your mind. However, you still have saber teeth and no ears.
And I still can't hear.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that was worth a shot.
Okay. I'll use another minor illusion and draw on the floor, Mordecai. Say, we can still hear you.
Okay, good.
So, yeah, we need to fix this post-haste, because there is no way that we are going to be able to fight through this hellscape.
Does anybody know the message cantrip?
I do not.
Okay.
I think
What's a
Mordecai.
cantrip?
I think Mordecai knows.
What's a cantrip, says the ranger. Very good answer.
I think Mordecai does, but doesn't really help.
Okay. Yeah, that's not very useful. Well,
Oh yeah, because message isn't psychic. It's actually just it vibrates the wind by your ear. It's actually a message, right?
I don't know. I don't know how it's
It depends
resolved.
how you play it, I guess.
I don't have it in front of me. I don't know that one.
Well, I have a book off to the side. I can check real quick.
I also have the text.
By the way, are the fires out, or is there still fires?
We were keeping one, and we
Okay.
just sniped the little creatures.
Okay. So as you're speaking, just intermittent as a couple fireballs slam into it, on or around the general vicinity.
Yeah. So, with all due respect to Mordecai's condition, I think we need to determine our next steps of action. So, Professor, do you have any idea where we are? Other than the obvious?
Can I make an Arcana check or a religion check?
Well, in the prior session, you did an Arcana check to determine that, apparently I accidentally deleted the, this was a beacon that was here.
Yeah.
And that this acted kind of like a teleportation circle. And so you're certainly nowhere in known Mesotopia, let alone Mesomasca itself.
Yep.
And so you are in this, you are in some other place, some pocket dimension, or I believe that the party had discussed with you being in a place that was kind of real but not, this fey cave. And it would seem that this is a special place along those lines.
Well, I mean, I do know of the other planes. I've made Arcana checks on it before that I have passed, because it's how I knew about the rumors of powerful wizards using tuning forks to try and travel to other places. That's how that idea even popped into Cypher's head to begin with, because you already had that information of, well, there was this rumor that this is how they did it. Maybe we could do it the same way if we had something suitable. So that's fine.
I don't think there's
Cypher.
any question
Cypher
of what
does.
dimension we're in. I just meant, is there any way to navigate? Like, do you know how to find people here? Do you know how to get back if we need to do that?
Well, this was an entry point of some kind, so there's most likely an exit point somewhere.
Yeah, okay, so that's a no. Okay, I'm gonna go and I would like to investigate the corpse of the dead demon.
Okay.
I'm looking for anything.
All right.
I mean, if he has an item, I'd like to find it. But besides that, anything I can learn about it.
Sure. In order to do this, unless you're willing to get your hands dirty, which would simply just incur another percentage roll.
Oh, the demon is covered in goop too.
It leaks it. It's not. It doesn't seem to be made of it like the kind of the very squishy things. But it did like it. What leaks out of the huge slice that you put in it with your magic spell. What leaks out of it does seem to share properties. But it does seem to have like leathery skin. Like you can presume, like touch the skin and whatnot is solid. It's not an amorphous blob. But the contents inside do seem to bear a similar glisten and stench and everything to the liquid blob people. So you can do a search, and if you just want to jump on it and say, you know what, I'll accept a percentile roll, then I'll give you an automatic success. If you want to try and tiptoe around it, be careful. Then
yeah. So I'm gonna tiptoe around and be careful. And if I need to, I mean, I'll use my mage hand.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem using my mage hand. So if I need to poke or prod, I mean, I know he's really big and the mage hand is very big, but I'm also not very big. So I'll use that. And if it doesn't work, but the avenue of investigation looks promising, that I have other means.
Okay. Then go ahead and yeah, you do have that helping. Let's do an investigation straight up then, instead of at disadvantage.
Okay, I can do that.
Ooh, jeez, yeah, look at that, 25.
My investigation was green.
Yeah.
20.
Sure. So as you are investigating this creature, it's not wearing clothes, with the exception of, if you counted his clothes, a belt. And the belt really just seems to exist for the simple sake of giving it a couple pockets, things to store. And One of those pockets is you're very carefully. Maybe you're using like the mage hand and your small size. You can kind of like reach in. You got little dexterous fingers and kind of bloop, and you find that there is something that would be maybe a map tube or a spell scroll case. It's a round, questionably sourced leather tube. And it does sound like that there's something inside. With that critical as well. There are some kind of berries inside one of the pockets, and there is also something that would work or look like a compass, except it's not consistently pointing in a particular direction. It's kind of lazily spinning around.
Okay, so these are all really useful things. So I'm going to write these down because it might come in handy later. So I've got the weird compass. That looks like just what we need. And then I've got a scroll case, which I'll be investigating shortly. And then what was the third? Oh, berries. Berries. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm going to go take these things back to...
Actually, you, Bright, I need you to also make a... what would this be for you? You can choose between history or nature as well.
Okay, that's going to be a history. It's
okay.
Not a very good history, 12.
Okay.
Natural 2.
All right. Nothing more is, obvious to you or coming to mind. But your curiosity, you kind of look things over, and your brain wants to double check, and it feels satisfied.
I'm so dumb.
A wizard shouldn't be saying that.
Well, I thought I was going to have to make a save, so when it was an ability check, I just like, oh great, I don't have to make a save, and then I should have used. Okay, well I'll quit fussing over it. Okay, so I'm going to take the 3 things that I found and the 1 thing that I didn't find. I'll leave that behind, but the 3 things that I did find, I'll take that to the party.
Okay.
So I found 3 things, and then I'll just kind of show them to Mordecai. Look what I got here. And the first thing that I want to do is I will give one of the berries to Casimir and ask him, can he didn't buy this? It is. And then I'll take the scroll case, and I would like to open the scroll case.
Okay.
I'll point the scroll case away from me while I open, just in case.
Oh, you found 11 berries. Okay. All right, so things are distributed.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to show them to Casimir and ask if he knew what they are, and then I want to look at the scroll case.
Casimir, in your experience hunting, gathering, foraging, surviving out in the wild, I mean, they're berries, maybe? They're berries in size and shape. They have kind of a hard texture, almost like an unground peppercorn. Maybe that's a more appropriate way to describe it. They have a very sour scent to it, though. More than... not necessarily even lemony fresh. It is sour, like something is spoiled and gone bad. Not exactly like a corpse. I mean, you've certainly done your fair share of hunting and using bait and stuff like that. And, some animals respond well to very smelly things, but there's just like a weird, soury smell coming off these. They have a little bit of a squish, but otherwise they kind of appear like an unground peppercorn. But there's nothing like these that you've encountered in your years of traveling around, I mean, particularly Aslandia, but, in Mesotopia.
Does not seem edible.
Okay. Well, I'll hang on to it because I'm pretty sure it's useful. I mean, the demon at it. So, Professor, do you know what this compass does?
I could happily take a look for you.
I mean, I can identify all these things, but if anybody, I'm just thinking some of you might recognize them, and I don't do because it takes a lot of time.
Yes, give me 1 second to have a look at it then. I'd like to make an Arcana check if it's magical.
Professor, you can also roll either a history or a nature.
I'll make that a history. No whammies.
And
All the
whammy.
whammies.
That's a red number.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Off to a
No.
great start.
Nope. Nope. Just
Okay. It's a probably magical. You're in a magical place. It's a compass that's not acting like a compass. Seems pretty suspiciously like a magic item of some kind.
Yeah, I mean, I figured that.
yeah. I think
But
you
yeah,
should probably
Professor,
identify this.
it's the metal feels kind of weird. And Bright, I mean, you would have been, I mean, you would have been encountering that as well. The metal feels a little weird, but then again, also these are weird berries. The sky is weird, etc., etc.
It's going to be better to take the time to identify it, because at the moment we don't know if we're going to find another place of respite to
for
do
sure.
that, considering it's raining fireballs from the sky.
Yeah, it's raining
Fireball
hell.
splashes
Okay.
across.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next thing I want to open the scroll case,
Okay.
but I want to point it away from everyone.
Just pops like party popper.
Okay. Give me 1 second here. There we go. Okay, That's not the right one. Oh, there we go. I need you to, make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Okay.
Oh,
Can-
no.
Can I have it at advantage since I was being careful?
In this circumstance, no.
Okay.
You open the tube. I mean, the tube opens up. It's
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and use my portent this time. So I was just so sure that this was a trap that probably because I saw it coming, because I did see it coming. So I'm gonna roll an 11, and then I'll add +7 for my Constitution. So 18.
okay. Very good. You maybe in that moment, like you're opening it up, and you have this vision, and the vision was a pretty gross one, as it looked like a bunch of like worms or larvae or something were crawling around in your head and spilling out of your ears and mouth and nose.
Markedly unpleasant.
Yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen. Okay, so what's inside the tube?
Inside the tube is a questionably sourced, curled up piece of parchment. Well, probably like a vellum, so like a leather to be written upon. And on this piece of vellum is nothing.
Okay. So that's interesting. Okay. We'll deal with that later. I guess the next step is to identify the compass.
Okay.
Does anybody? I mean, it's going to take me like half an hour to identify all these things. So if anybody else has any other things to do while we're getting pelted here in the middle of hell, and like more demons might show up, that'd be great. But if not, I'll just identify things. I'll start with the compass.
Since Bright is looking like she's gonna be sitting down for a little bit, Mordecai just sits down where he is.
Take a short
I'm
rest.
gonna. Whilst you identify stuff, I can maybe have a look at this goo and see if there's a way to reverse its effects. So we want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to
Mordecai's
identify the
gonna
goo
have a short rest, so.
because it'll get all gooey and turn into a person.
Yeah, so basically there's gonna be... Yeah, there's gonna be some... We're gonna take some time right now to do some identification of some stuff, and...
Okay.
I'm gonna be trying to figure out what this goo is and how I might reverse its effects, because Mordecai needs his ears back. And I need my charisma back. And Bright needs to not be made of literal glass.
Yeah, Bright's kind of a very fragile person right now. All right, so with we have our two. I can't even say two arcane because technically bards are arcane sources. Though we do have our wizard and our warlock here trying to solve a mystery or rewrite history. DuckTales, woohoo! That would leave Mordecai kind of jamming out, and although that might work out because Mordecai, you and probably Casimir would have to be on goo person duty because these things are still crawling out of the one fire you have burning. So.
Okay.
With one fire between the two of you, I mean, Casimir can kind of like taunt him and kite him around, and you can, shoot. You can take him down with cantrips.
Like Sacred Flame, yeah.
Yeah. So that's not complex. It's just requiring your attentions in order to, to keep that fire burning, but also not allow things to, I don't know.
Harass us.
Yeah, harass you or get worse, things along those lines. So, okay. For Bright, it's autopilot. You just need a sync of time for this. So, Professor, my particular question during this block of time would be, how are you interacting with this remnants, this residue of these creatures?
Being very careful not to get it on my hands or on my anything else. Using the harmless sensory effects that I can create, such as the sparks and whatnot, to basically run that gamut of... Basically, this. I have created a small field laboratory, and I am all of the lab equipment.
Make... Okay. Let's combine this. I would like you to make 3 Dex-based Arcana checks. Let's mix it up a bit and combine what you're trying to do for this kind of custom field work and, hazmat as well.
Okay. I actually have better dex than I do intelligence, so this will be a slightly better check than a regular Arcana check for me. So that'll be a 20, a 24, and a 15.
Okay. Okay. Over the course of time, it's not ideal. I mean, this isn't a laboratory, so and also you're only working over the course of about a half hour. However, you do manage not to grow or lose any more appendages. There's a couple times where some of your scabs fall off into the sample, and you're like, again, because more just kind of grow to take its place. And it's also kind of weird because, I mean, you've heard about, like, cracking your knuckles, but, like, it's like crunchy and on the outside this time when you're doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. For anyone out there watching, by the way, Professor Cypher here is very scabrous. Just head to toe.
I'd like to fix this, considering I'm a Hexblade Warlock with impaired charisma.
Yeah, we all
Not a
have
good
things
thing.
to fix. I can't move,
Yeah.
and I'm even squishier than usual. Our bard can't hear, and Casimir has festive ears that are actually pretty fun.
Yeah, that 5-foot fly speed.
I think that's the thing that just irritates me the most is that Casimir made off like a bed and he has like what 4 or 5 mutations. Each of us have like 1 to 2, and they were literally the worst possible things that we could have had.
Yeah, 5.
Interestingly
Yeah,
enough,
what the hell, man?
none of you doubled up, with the exception of the one of the
You guys
flying
aren't
ears,
cool enough.
or not the flying ears. The oh no, I think Casimir also has the, or no, Mordecai has the dagger hands or something like that. Okay, so there was one double.
Yeah, he's got. Oh, that's right. He's got the dagger tentacle. Yeah.
Dagger tentacles. Yeah, that's
the
right.
Dagger tentacles.
And
That's
a
thing.
saber-toothed, dagger-tentacled vampire tiefling bard.
Wow.
Thing. Yeah. Oh.
Fortunately, none of those things are impaired.
Man, are we playing Munchkin? Because you're like a level 22 creature right now with all the modifiers we put on you.
and meanwhile, in the depths of the Black Ice Storm, Celine just wishes she was there.
Professor, just think of it as really bad eczema.
Doesn't make it better. Do I learn anything?
So this is a... What specifically would you glean from this setup? It is obviously a transformative substance. You make the link that even the big one that does have skin and internal bits, brights there as well. I mean, you could have learned about that or just looked down and seen the goop spilling out. So these lesser beings seem to be pretty well just composed of this stuff. I mean, they have something kind of like a skin, but it would be like it'd be like biting into a spring roll or an egg roll. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of contents inside, but it's like a very thin, like a rice paper, holding everything in.
It's a film.
It's more like a film. Now you have this more advanced thing that also has this as innards, or as a composition on the inside, which is going to lead you to a solid presumption that your bodies, as mutated as they are, if they don't already, may also be producing this goop, as your bodies have been influenced by the creatures that are here. Although I'll tell you, Bright bled some blood back there, and it still looked like blood. So if it's going to happen, you either haven't hit a threshold or it's something that happens over time. It is a mutagenic substance that, in a short term, can survive being outside the maker's body, as well as being contained in a glass vial. And whatever this is a substance that is, I guess, native to the people here of low form and high form, and possibly even those who have come to visit. There's nothing you could tell about what it will do beyond, or what it will, how it may continue to interact. Though, I mean, you saw a bunch of soft, squishy stuff. We could make a deduction that there was a more advanced creature. It did, for a second there, big wings and horns. Oh, fairy book tails. It was a dragon. Ooh, that was a really weird looking dragon, though, if it was. Because it did have a lot of humanoid features. It still had claws and such, even similar to some of the mutations. And even kind of looking over at Casimir, Casimir isn't draconic looking necessarily, but we have a twisted version of Casimir.
So, Cypher kind of just stares with this realization. So, I've got some bad-ish news.
How bad?
Basically, that guy over there, he might not be native. He might have been a visitor here like us, who got transformed into that by the goop. Bright, you are currently in Death Fornicate mode.
Oops, I'm sorry. But he seemed to know what was going on. He set those fires, and he's oozing the same kind of goop that came out of these other creatures.
He also attacked us.
But you're thinking that the goop came out of him because he got gooped, and it wasn't like he didn't originate the goop? I just assumed that he was the big goop man, and the small things were the small goop people.
No, apparently, having a look at it, this might be something that's native to this plane, that interacts with. It's basically
Many fall
why
in the face of chaos,
things
but not
are
this
as
one.
they are here.
Not today.
In terms of the way that people look and all of that.
It's an interesting theory.
And unfortunately, it's just this purely mutagenic substance that we might start producing over time, and we may end up just like him if we're not careful.
Well, let's be careful, and also let's hope it's not permanent. I think that would be
Yeah, you're telling me.
I don't want to be vulnerable to damage forever. It's tough.
Just don't get hit.
Yeah,
That is sage advice.
To be fair, Bright doesn't really dive headfirst into battle to try and get hit. It's just due to being the wizard, being the mage, he kind of just gets ganked first.
Those are interesting terms you're using. They don't translate into Gnomish. Okay, so what did I get for my identifiers?
Okay, I'll give you identifiers, and I will actually transition from what the professor said over to what you're discovering with the realization as well, Bright, especially when he's talking about, might transform and all this other stuff. You currently have a tail and like little horns, and your mage armor, unless you're gonna purposely dispel it or whatever.
Keeping
It's mage armor. It's magical, but its manifestation was fundamentally altered here, where it functions the same, except it does have a different appearance.
Interesting. But I mean, it's just spectral, right? It's just magical.
Yeah, it is the spell. You run a subroutine in the back of your mind, the data, etc. And
I'm a gnome android.
yeah. All right, so you run a Svirfneblin in the back of your mind. It's I mean, it's still, you feel it's the familiar tingle of the mage spell or whatever, however it manifests for Bright, except it just you look different because it's manifested on you.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
you didn't go out of your way. You aren't like, I'm gonna try and go for a green one this time. It's just boop, got a little tail, and yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
So the compass. This is in, I guess, no particular order, or we can presume that this is exactly the order that you studied them in.
Yeah, I definitely would have done the compass first.
The compass is an item that mechanically, I don't know if we ever really talked about how we're describing this in character, but out of character, it would require attunement, and it does. It creates a psychic link to the attuned person, and it acts similarly to a detect thoughts spell.
Oh, that's interesting.
Um,
Okay.
And so it would seem to be able to read the attuned person's thoughts.
Oh, it reads their thoughts. Oh,
Yeah. And goes on to therefore act like a compass.
so whoever it's attuned to, it points to at all times. Is that what you're saying? Like you attune to it and then give it to someone else, and then they can always find you. Is that what I'm getting?
The compass would know what you're thinking, and therefore it would perform like a compass. So if it points
That
to
makes no
yourself,
sense at all.
Like point to what you want.
if it
Oh.
points to you, Bright, then you must be thinking very highly of yourself because
I
you
mean,
are
I
on your
do.
own mind.
I see. Okay. So it finds the thing that you currently desire. Is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, that makes much more sense. Okay, now what about the scroll?
The scroll is it has a, I think it would be divination. If not, I'm going to call it divination, and whatever. If we have to make a one-time exception, it is. But this is a scroll that also attunes to the person carrying it, and applies their senses to the scroll.
You mean whatever they sense is written on the scroll?
The things that they hear, feel, see, or even taste manifest on the scroll.
It's a live diary.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's kind of interesting. So that explains why it's blank. And then what about the berries?
And the berries are not magical. They're just some kind of shrivelly, slightly crispy, yet also squishy sour berry.
Huh. Okay. Well, we should still hang on to them. What if... I don't know. That must be... They must be interesting things. I don't know what they're for. Okay, so... Does anybody want to attune to these things? I mean, I don't know who should. I mean, does anybody...
I don't know how many slots people have open either.
Yeah, let me look at that.
Don't think I have it.
Yeah, Casimir, you're pretty basic. I think you just have like a magical weapon and shield, and that's...
One.
Nick Shield.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think I have
I
any
only
magical
have
items
one.
right now.
I've only got one attuned item,
So...
and that's my packed rod, so...
Yeah, I think any of us...
I
Could
think
attune.
I'm only attuned to my violin.
Yeah?
So, I think Casimir would probably be the most interesting to read his thoughts.
You don't need people in here. Little cockroach was enough.
Okay. Well, someone should attune to this compass so we can use it. It's probably the best way to navigate where we are. Like we could wish for Jaden. Or
I can do it. Mordecai can't
I
hear
would
you
s-
otherwise, but I
Yeah.
assume you're already within minor illusion.
Yeah, you have
I'm-
minor illusion, so...
I'll give you the summary. The minor illusions. Cliff's
It
notes.
would either be Mordecai or
Bright's notes.
Bright's notes.
Mordecai or Casimir would be the best two, considering Casimir being someone who can somewhat navigate, and Mordecai, because Mordecai's single-minded, almost fanatical devotion to anything. So,
Did he hear you say that?
Oh, you can do a lot of talking behind Mordecai's back now.
Not much is translating for me.
I probably wouldn't have translated that. I might have smoothed it over a little.
I think Mordecai would be the pick for that.
It doesn't matter to me.
I'll take the compass.
Okay, I'll give you the compass. And who wants the? I mean, we can just hang on to the scroll. If we don't necessarily need it right now, it might come in handy later. We might want to. Of course, we can always change the attunement. So.
What's the scroll? Just because I had to be happy for a second.
Oh, it's basically a live diary of everything you experience.
Ah. What does it read currently, or is it just blank?
It just says Twitch across the top.
Ah! I see.
But I don't think it actually makes you Twitch. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know either.
Oh, Bright, I will say, you don't have to share this if you don't wish to, but the questionably sourced leather is in fact tiefling skin.
Oh, yeah, I probably wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and you can get this with the Identify as well, and doubly so because this would be something that you have had some experience with, and maybe it'll knock loose that little crumb that was kind of stuck up in on the top shelf or something. The compass is made out of dragon scales. More like maybe a scale that's been kind of bent and molded.
Oh, that's fun.
Seemed kind of weirdly familiar.
Like, really familiar, or just familiar in the way the dragon scales would be familiar?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like saying, oh, this is a fish because it has the small scales, or a snake, or whatever, a crocodile.
Okay.
I mean, you're probably one of the few people who've actually manipulated or touched in some form dragon scales on a... I mean, even you were riding around on the back of one for a while, so you have a pretty good knowledge of them and how they feel. The Identify seems to confirm that, the shaping process kind of did, it bent it, and, the texture changed a bit, but this is showing up in your Identify as being made of dragon scale.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we have an hour while Mordecai attunes.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tune and do a short rest. Because having my inspiration back might be nice.
Yeah, and Cypher probably needs a short rest more than anyone because he gets so much benefit from it.
You better believe I need a short rest.
I guess Casimir and I will hold down the fort. I could really use a spell recharge, but I'll live. Casimir and I
can do myself.
Can you? Okay. Kenny?
Can Casimir short rest?
No, can Casimir hold off the slant creatures while I take a short rest?
The question would be how Casimir's going to do this without being splashed further in some way.
Yeah, because Casimir is going to get splashed.
I mean, because Casimir could certainly just stand there all day and swing. I mean, he's really good at that. Even uses his tail or whatever. but then that would be direct exposure to this mutagenic substance.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need another deaf person. Because
Alright.
we have no idea. Yeah,
Okay.
You made off like a bandit anymore, and you're just pushing your luck.
Well, if Casimir and I can do it, I mean, we never tested out if Firebolt works on these, but if it does, then, I mean, they crawl out of fire, so it's probably a tough
Tough sell.
sell.
So, man.
But, I don't know. I mean, can we see out of where we are? Like, or if the fire's too fiery?
Seeing much beyond this reddish shield is difficult to do, even if you're pressed up against it. It's nothing that would really get you anywhere beyond its more flat, open, barren, scorched earth, as far as you can see through the shield.
Okay. Well, I guess Mordecai has to attune, and
Yeah.
and the professor needs a short rest, so Casimir and I will have to hold him off. I don't want to get splooshed. So I'll try a firebolt. Maybe they're just resistant, not immune. If in that case.
Okay. And what else is going on?
I'm just short resting and attuning.
Okay.
And I am short resting and regaining my spells.
As warlocks do.
And my Hexblade's curse.
Oh, and Mordecai, you get your you get your bardic inspiration back too in a short rest.
I do.
All right.
And I am gonna use a couple of hit dice.
Oh yeah, that's that's true as well. Professor, I don't know if you need to spend any hit dice during your
No.
short rest, but
I
okay,
don't
yeah.
need to.
So the others can certainly, buy you this hour downtime. During this time, by the way, the half hour, now an hour, there's no sun in the sky. I mean, there's kind of directionless, omnipresent light. It does increase with some pretty severe lightning flashes, and of course, the random fireball that rains down from the sky. But you see that you don't really have shadows even. Like, yeah, there's light, but it's not even sort of a generic, or I guess it'd be more like a generic shadow, like a circle underneath you, almost like what we see in video games. There is light, but it's not acting like light. There's no sun, there's no apparent moon, and at the same time, while there's clouds roiling in the sky, even if there is a sun, either it's super powerful to, provide bright enough for the descriptor, the battlefield descriptor, to be bright light. But it's just, it's just really weird. And Mordecai, I will give you this as well, because I think you were the one who saw this, and correct me if I'm wrong. The clouds are moving, however, they are not on repeat.
So it's not an illusion.
This does not... Well, I mean...
Doesn't seem like one anyway.
It's not the circumstance as when you were approaching the cave, where the wind and the clouds seem to be on this 2-minute repeat cycle. Like the same 2 minutes were just passing over and over and over again. The cloud patterns are random, and you're observant too. I'll tell you what.
I do have the observant feat.
You do.
I can't hear anything, so I can see things.
Yeah, you can super see things. Make an investigation during this time as well.
Okay. Investigation, not perception.
Correct. This is investigation. You're putting something together. I'm giving you the site for it for free.
22.
The majority, and this is over the course of your downtime, right? You're resting. If you had to breathe, you're catching your breath. you do notice that if there is a pattern to anything in particular, it's that as the lightning streaks across the clouds, like through the clouds, and a lot of it even sort of like crawls along the bottom, like a really fast, like a really fast snake or like a really fast bug or spider kind of. On top of this 40-foot tower, you have a vantage point, and you see that a lot of it does seem to be racing towards a direction somewhere in what would be the horizon. At least once you can, get this shield down. So there is a pattern of a lot of the lightning. Some of it might occasionally streak down or go in a different direction. But over the course of time, much more lightning than not does seem to crackle and flow in a particular direction.
Okay. I suppose then what Mordecai will be doing as he's finishing up the attunement is concentrating on Jaden and see if it points in the same direction.
Okay. Oh, right. So yeah, you're trying to make this connection and test it out. Yeah. Okay. There is nothing in particular that is a connection. There's not like a psychic feeling. You don't hear anything on the wind, obviously, but also you don't hear stuff psychically or feel a particular tug during this time. But you are getting a growing, not necessarily a bad feeling, but it's a different feeling as you are becoming more and more accustomed to this item. It's think like if your foot falls asleep or something, kind of that pins and needles. Now you're not losing sensation, but you are getting just kind of a fuzzy feeling throughout your body.
And does the compass point in that direction once it's attuned to me?
I will get to that point. Okay. We'll build up to the attunement and what goes on, but nothing in the process of attunement is happening, besides this weird kind of pins and needles. Professor, are there any sort of little internal checks or things that you are hoping to either sense, or are you just sort of, I'm here, I'm concentrating on this, and I'm just going to let whatever happens happen?
I am gonna take the short rest, but I suppose I'm just gonna think over. I mean, I know the results that I got from my testing. My big thing is just trying to figure out how one might be able to cure this thing.
Okay, sure. So you are running a sub-process in the back of your mind then. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Then and then Casimir and Bright are kind of playing tag and, cleaning up by making a mess. All the same. You're performing the necessary functions that allow Mordecai and the professor to both take a short rest and attune. And
I thought little one was resting.
What's that?
No, Maddie said that you wouldn't be able to do it by yourself. So
yeah. You can, however, I'm not gonna stop their mutagenic process, and you're wielding a battle axe, so it's up to you if you want to play that roulette. Otherwise, Bright needs to you and Bright need to tag team or make a game out of it, or I don't know. Bright realize the crushing horror of the Casimir nightmare that we experienced last Halloween, where he turns into a beast and hunts you all and probably eats you. Whatever. Oops.
I told you I won that fight.
All right. So, Professor, you, I'm going to start with you. Your hour is up. Presumably it's an hour. Like, something certainly feels like it turns over. You've reached some kind of a point where, your body feels a little bit more rested. Again, there's no real passing of time. There's no shadows to lengthen or, move your shadow to show that there's a celestial form of movement. And, did we lose the professor right as I called on him? We might have.
He went away.
Okay. Mordecai. I'll start with you. Mordecai, that kind of numbness, quickly signifies that your attunement is complete, and your body, you get the out of character refreshment of a short rest and spending hit dice. You can narrate that as your vampiric blood stitching together parts of your body. That being said, your saber-tooth fangs and all your mutations are a part of your body. There's the professor. I'm not going to switch back to the professor, but the professor will give you a bit of an odd look at first. But that is going to be regardless, as you feel this attunement to this compass, and suddenly there's some beacon, or I don't know, there's like it's not really a headache, but you feel a little presence in your mind. But it'd be more like a physical presence, not like a whispering, not like a little whispering spirit or something. But you do feel that there is some kind of an attachment or a presence. And go ahead and, I guess, now that you're attuned, is there something in particular that you are hoping to...
I want to find Jaden.
Okay. You think of Jaden, and I would like you... How should I translate this in particular? You know what? We'll actually have this be a... just make a charisma save. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay. Pretty bad for a bard, but this is D&D. It's fine. There is a moment of... You feel slightly disoriented, and you have to... I don't know, like now it's actually turned into a bit of a headache as you feel a little wobbly. There's like a turning in your mind, and
Thankfully, I'm sitting down.
Yeah. You're not in danger of falling off a 40-foot tower to a very ignominious death or something along those lines. Professor, as you look over, you notice that Mordecai, as you two have completed your rest and your attunement here, Mordecai's eyes are swirling in their sockets, and they have the same coloration as the compass. So he has these kind of dark, like sclera, and he had Mordecai does have pupils, doesn't he? Yeah.
He does. Yeah. He has normal human.
Yeah,
eyes.
because you're half tiefling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his pupils have a kind of a red gold tinge to them, and they're just kind of freely spinning. Like one's kind of doing a loop laterally, and the other one's doing a loop horizontally, and they're both, he clutches, and you look over like, "Hey, Mordecai, are you okay?" or something along those lines. Again, your characters, you can modify that if you wish. And his eyes are just sort of like in their sockets. Now, Mordecai, you have a headache, but you don't feel eye pain. This is not in particular uncomfortable for you. I mean, again, a little bit of a headache is something's like, oh, I'm trying to think real hard, except it's actually manifesting as a little physical pain in your mind. But yeah, the professor's looking at you, and for a moment you have that dizzy wave, and then you focus on the professor, and you can see him. He seems fine, except he's looking at you with kind of a funny face. Professor, these eyes are now fixed on you and are looking at you.
What?
It's prestidigitation. You okay?
I don't have much practice reading sparklers. What? Are you okay? Is that what you're saying?
Hey.
Oh,
You're spelling it weird. Anyway, sure. A little headache. A little bit, but that's it.
Okay. Right. You might
Got
want to
something on
tell
my
him
face?
that. You might want to tell him that his eyes were doing loops in his head, like literally freely rotating in his eye socket.
are they still doing loops though?
No. But they are different
They
colors.
were.
Well,
Okay,
they're both the same color. That's a different color than the normal one.
okay. I'll write in the minor illusion. I'll say your eyes changed color.
Oh no, another mutation. Jesus.
And then I'll
Had
put
enough
again
of these.
and say, I don't think it's a mutation. It's from the compass.
Who's this Jesus?
It's someone who's, very sacred to tieflings, I guess.
Interesting.
My eyes changed color.
Yeah.
Because of the compass.
As
The headache's
Cypher
gone
just
now.
nods at
So the next illusion says, did you find Jade? Jaden, excuse me.
If I think about Jaden, do I sense a direction to go?
No, not. I mean, besides some pain, nothing seemed to manifest for you. However, you can give it another
Look at the
try if you want.
compass. Yeah. I'll look at the compass while I'm doing that. And
Yeah, go ahead and make
try
another charisma save.
Oh boy.
You almost
Good.
can't do worse. There we go.
Couldn't do worse.
That's the
Because I
Mordecai.
originally
That...
rolled a 3 with a +9. Got a 12. But now I have a 28. It's fine.
All right.
And they average out to exactly average.
So, Mordecai, for a moment, your mind whirls. Like you feel kind of spinning. You're not staggering. You don't feel like you're gonna throw up or anything, but you definitely have kind of this, I don't know, just a twirly feeling inside you. On the outside, Mordecai, your eyes are going bonkers, and then they affix. Like, you're looking one way, however, your eyes are both kind of like, boop, kind of off to the side. Not necessarily facing forward as your standard self would probably do. You don't feel uncomfortable. You have, besides that weird, just a little, felt like a half-second little dizzy spell. Your eyes are fine. You're not leaking blood out of your tear ducts or anything. And you look at the compass, and you can see Mordecai, and this can be conveyed to the others, but you can see a very faint spotted line that is almost like dripping down out of the compass onto the ground. It flows, and this is very similar in a sense, Mordecai, to your experience aboard the Maw, where you are seeing a line manifest in front of you and kind of go off. And now you're not hearing voices. There's also no weird black hair kind of just lurking around.
Right.
But this is something that only you can see, and it's sort of pouring off the compass and going in a direction. Now, not into infinity, because you can't see, you can't see it forever. But it is crawling in a direction out towards the edge of the shield, but doesn't quite make it there.
The lines. And once Mordecai has finished his short rest, he kind of points in a red direction. It's like, she's that way. Are we ready to go?
I have one thing I'd want to do first. And I don't know if I can make the trip because I can hardly walk. So,
Do you want me to carry?
you might have to. I don't normally I
I
wouldn't
can
normally
summon
ask.
Jasper, but that also means I can't teleport.
I can
No.
also just summon horses like last time. Or probably creature more for terrain.
I can
Well-
summon Jasper, but that's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know yet. Let me do this thing first, and then we'll find out. So I want to call it Peggy Sue. Hello, Peggy Sue. What does she look like? Does she look normal or does she look weird?
What was your intended manifestation of her? As a cricket?
No, she's a bird now.
Oh, as a
She's been
bird?
Yeah. See, you can tell the bird.
Big poofy
Then
bird.
she would appear as a not necessarily not like a phoenix, but as a bird on fire, like a fire bat. So you get kind of like a charred skeleton interior, and a lovely plumage of flames that are constantly pouring off of her.
Oh,
She's not hot to the touch, though.
okay, that's nice. So she's a bird and she's on fire. Okay, so I'm gonna give you one of these little berries,
Hmm.
and let her eat it. And I want to
Okay.
experience her sensations as she does so.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you roll your eyes back and you make the connection with your familiar. This is interesting. Okay.
Please don't die, Peggy Sue.
That would be so sad.
Why would you feed the bird that? It's not good. Going to get
mean-
poops.
It's the sort of thing that birds would eat.
Peggy Sue does not die, though in your hand she starts to just twitch and quiver and spasm. And as that happens, the flames extinguish and flesh is built upon the charred bone, and Peggy Sue looks like the bird that you wanted her to look like.
How about that? So, who wants to be the guinea pig? I mean, the second guinea pig.
Peggy Sue also tells you that she feels very warm. Not but feels warm.
Okay. Well, if it gets too hot for you, I'll send you back to your place. But now that it's safe, I'd like you to stay with us. And I'm sorry I made you uncomfortable and used you as a guinea pig. I'll say that part very quietly, but you'll still be able to hear it.
Yeah,
Because that's how it works with familiars. Okay, so that's what our next farm is definitely going to be, an actual guinea pig. Okay, so anyway, it seems like these berries might turn us back. If anybody wants to try one.
I
Okay,
want to.
all right. Well, Mordecai can have one, so now we're down to 9.
Bottoms up, and I flick it into my mouth. And
Okay.
eat it.
Go ahead, and I need you to make a con save, Mordecai.
Well, I'm not great at these.
That may not necessarily be a bad thing. Okay.
Okay, pretty
19.
good.
15,
Okay.
pretty
Uh,
good for a +1.
So Mordecai, you I mean, you spat like the little bird was kind of like twitching, and it was probably kind of heartbreaking in a sense to see it go through this process. Mordecai, you just sort of like you double over in pain, and then you arch your back we can almost hear your bones like as you're clenching up, like your whole body is getting a Charlie horse, like your knuckles are just popping just from clenching up, and as this very long time for you experiencing this moment passes, the pain subsides. You don't have dagger fingers, tentacle arms, saber-toothed teeth, Fangs.
Fangs?
Fangs.
I mean, the usual Wait, he doesn't have any fangs?
No fangs.
Well, that's interesting.
Do I feel different?
I mean, you just went through racking pain throughout your entire body. You do actually feel exhausted. Like, that's something you probably haven't felt in a while. You know,
Yeah.
is like that tiredness of setting into your muscles. Like, even your tail aches. You're like, oh, jeez.
Do I hunger for blood? Or do I hunger for food?
You can always make that conscious decision, so I won't stop you.
But I haven't had food in months.
You haven't, but you also have this sense of fullness despite having only eaten a berry. So you get kind of you don't feel a hunger. You don't really feel satiated, but you also don't feel hungry. You know, you just ate a bucket of popcorn kind of feeling. Like, yeah, you know, I'm full, but eh.
That's fine. Okay. Alright. What about my skin? Does it look lively? Or did it not really look all that different before?
Yeah, sure. So you're you know, you're looking around and
Do I hear myself rustling things as well? Like
Yeah.
rustling my clothes and things like that, yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Oh, my hearing's back.
your hearing's
Okay.
back. It might be a small price to pay, but you do see that your tattoos are gone.
Oh. I liked my tattoos.
I did too.
You can always get more tattoos. And you can always get turned back into a vampire again.
No. No. No.
Casimir gives that one-sided smile, you know, as the carrier anyways.
But it doesn't even work.
He doesn't even have fangs, so, you know, he'd have to try harder.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when we get back home, we're going to get you
Hey.
the very best tattoos you could ever ask for.
I checked. Do I have a pulse?
Yeah. Oh, you are also not attuned to your violin or your compass anymore, and your eyes are normal.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, let's sit for 2 more hours.
Maybe the professor can do some of the fighting so I can get a rest too then.
But yeah, Mordecai, you seem to be, like, reset.
Oh my god.
Mordecai, can you still do your spells, your bard things?
I try and pop off a cantrip.
Goes off.
Okay. Phew.
Okay, that could have been unfortunate.
You are now level 3.
Yeah, methinks that I might want to try one of those berries too.
Yeah,
'Cause
I think we should save them, as many as we can.
Anything that isn't like life threatening. We
Yeah.
save them so that we can restore ourselves.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 reasons. First, we don't know. We might encounter something else and have to use them again, and I don't want to use them all up. And secondly, I know a really good plant guy back in. Well, I know a whole bunch because, I mean, gnomes are. You know, I know a really good plant guy in Mask of Horns, but I also know some really good plant people in Uct, and also I know about a plant person, which is very different. But so yeah, and they might be able to grow these into real plants and grow a whole cure for everybody.
well,
And
if we keep a couple,
just
because
we have
you'll
to
be
keep
able
we have to keep as many as we can. We
We
can't
don't know if they're
can't waste
actually going
one.
to cultivate.
Yeah. What if
Yeah.
only one makes it and we ate it?
Well,
It's-
that's the thing that, you know, Casimir is fine, but us three were
Wait,
rather impaired.
what's wrong with Cypher?
Literally covered head to toe in like scabbing.
Charisma.
And his charisma.
It does, yeah.
And
It
my
is damaging
charisma.
charisma.
Which basically,
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
that
not
does suck for
exactly a
you.
pleasant sight to look at.
yeah.
Okay, I won't. How long did it take Mordecai to transform back?
Mordecai will probably tell you literally days. It felt like I was in agony. However, it wasn't. It was like a minute.
A minute. Okay, Mordecai,
It's
do
painful.
you feel like you get your magic power back, like your spell slots?
Do I feel like I've rested enough for spell slots?
You have what you had after finishing the short rest.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So
no.
you,
No.
the quantification of your magical capacity seems to have remained.
Feel about the same if a little tired.
Okay. Yeah, you might. Did you bring, like, regular food?
I have rations.
I can.
I
share
also have.
I can
I-
share some of my vegetarian rations with you if you need.
I also brought some rations.
Okay, so
I didn't bring any. I didn't expect to be.
okay, I'll give a berry to the professor. We'll be down to 8.
Okay. Professor, you
Alright,
nom in the berry?
and- Yeah, I'm nomming the berry.
Alright, I need you to also make a con save, please.
Constitution. Whammies. Oh,
Okay.
It's an 11.
Alright. Professor, you eat this berry, and you just cry out in agony. I mean, all of you see that all of, the scabs that were forming the professor's flesh just kind of grow out like time-lapse fingernails as they're like pushing themselves out of his flesh and dropping to the top of this tower, but leaving behind his normal flesh, but just in this really grotesque fashion. Professor, I mean, you're feeling every inch of your body. Just you have 10,000 small blades pushing through you and falling out at your feet, to make little like a little pile of your scabs on the top of the tower. In so doing, your attunements will also drop, and this is also going to have an interesting interaction with your gauntlet. As your gauntlet seems like when you first found it, like it just is a gauntlet. It's there. You can wear it. It doesn't hurt. It fits like a glove. But something is, I don't know, something's not quite right. You have magical capacity, but it's a weird feeling.
I'm gonna try and summon my longsword, the pack longsword.
Okay.
Does the longsword appear, or?
It does. It's, I don't know, maybe the pain was muddling your thoughts or something. It doesn't happen as quickly as you've grown used to since your time with this, with this item. But
It's probably reset my...
It feels kind of like when you were first experimenting with this thing. When you were, discovering it, you're trying some experiments. Now, you've had it for a while. You've done experiments on it that you could easily repeat or, maybe go through a procedure, but it's feeling kind of fresh in your hands. As well, Professor, I don't know offhand if you had any, tattoos or the like.
No. No
okay.
No tattoos or anything like that. But,
You have to wear glasses, though, right? You wear glasses?
yes.
Oh, everything looks blurry to you now.
I take off my glasses.
You can see better without them.
My sight is better. Well then, I'll fold those up and keep them with me.
Sure.
But I think with that, I do feel like the harmonious attunement between my rod and my gauntlet, and myself and my gauntlet, has been a little changed. So I think spending some time to sit down and re-establish these connections so that they do not fail in battle, as that was the entire point of me taking that berry to begin with, was to be right as rain.
In a sense, you are.
Mordecai's still kind of in shock.
I'm still kind of in shock too.
Yes,
I know.
Cypher is gonna just kind of curiously check Mordecai for a pulse.
Sure. You don't need a medicine check. Mordecai feels like he has a pulse. Thup, 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 thup.
I think I'll just sit down here for a minute.
Right.
My.
Cross the long leg over the short leg.
Yeah, that's right.
This is a curious sense of events.
Now the question is, if I leave this place, am I going to die?
Well, that's not the question I was asking. Why do you think that you would die?
I don't know. This place, these kinds of places are weird. It like the like, you know, Barry takes away everything that's wrong with you, but like, if I leave this place, is that not going to be effective? If we go back, are the berries even going to be effective anymore?
There's no way to know. All we can do is hope. I mean, we could always... I don't know. We don't know how to find a way out. But when we do, we could send the berry back and take... I mean... I don't know. We'll just have to find out.
Now,
But
this is going to sound exceptionally morbid, but Mordecai, I'm going to put this as a win-win situation for you. And I'll tell you why.
I'm not sure you can sell him on dying being a win-win situation. But go ahead and try.
Hear me
Roll
out.
persuasion.
So, we exit this realm, and two things happen. You live. Sorry, three things happen. You live. Cured. You have your life back. We exit, and the vampirism returns, but nothing else. Nothing really changed, did it?
Right.
And, you had a fondness for that Celine woman, yes?
She was...
Do you think they could raise the dead?
No, I don't
Sorry.
think that. I don't think that. But you have come to worship the same powers she did. Somewhat in her memory, yes?
Not to the same degree, I don't think.
Not to the same degree, but still as a primary form of worship over, say, a god like Ogma. Just as an example.
Right.
Well, if I know anything to be true about what happens after one dies, when one who worships one god over another dies, they normally go to the domain of said god. So, if it were to be the case that we exited and you lost your life, you would most likely join her in the place where Celine is. It is morbid, but think about it. What in those three situations is a loss for you, truly? The worst thing that happens is that nothing changes.
Right.
So we find out what happens when it happens. Either way, you will either get to live your life in peace, you will be at peace, or nothing will have changed for the better or worse. And considering the kind of, and pardon my language, fuckery that we have been dealing with, because that's our one.
There's that one.
Yes, the kind of stuff, things that have been dealing with, breaking even doesn't sound like a bad thing at all, to be quite honest. Wouldn't you agree?
Right.
So,
For all intents
right
and
now-
purposes, I thought I had a death wish.
exactly. But now,
Alright.
instead of complaining or thinking about what might happen when we get out of here, let us count the blessings that we have in that you have a pulse again. Enjoy it. You know, as much as you can in this blasted hellscape, but enjoy it.
Right. Because we're in hell.
Yeah. Also, Maddie, your camera shutter has slid down a little bit.
Oh, I wonder who did that.
Keycat did.
Kitty cat did. But no, Cypher's just like, what do you lose? You have everything to gain and nothing to lose in this. The worst thing that happens is that no change occurs. And, you know, breaking even? With all the crap that's going on, that's great. Breaking even is great.
Well, glad you're entertained by the weird things that go on in my head sometimes.
Well, look, if it wasn't entertainment, I'd be absolute. If it wasn't entertainment, it'd be curiosity. And if it wasn't curiosity, quite frankly, Mordecai, I would be absolutely terrified. Better to be curious and try and figure it out and rationalize it than it is to be scared. Nothing gets done with fear.
I suppose you're
But
right.
you said that way, yes?
That direction, yep.
Then
I, would
I
need to
think we
attune
should.
to find more detailed, but
Then I think we should take a moment to re-establish our connections.
it's gonna
And
take
then
a
we shall
couple
go.
hours.
Well, we've already spent an hour here. What's a couple more? Again, this is a place of respite. We don't know when we're going to get another one.
Okay, I guess Casimir and I can hold off the slime creatures for another hour.
And we could always do that at some other point. How crucial is that thing?
My one is relatively crucial, as it gives me access to an extra spell slot sometimes. So for one, doing one might be an idea. And then
If Mordecai
do
has
the
to
other
do
when we got
two,
time.
Bright could break for 1 hour after Cypher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bright could break for an hour and get a short rest in. So
Yeah.
my thought is, right? Actually, we could do the entire two. Casimir and Cypher hold off for an hour while Bright gets a short rest and Mordecai attunes one. And then Cypher and Mordecai sit down and Bright and Casimir can go back to doing the thing.
I could always attune to my violin later.
Yeah,
It
so we
still
could just
functions as an instrument. It just doesn't do the extra shit.
Alright then, so...
So- The compass is kind of necessary, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if So we could do.
So I can take.
Well,
over
I mean,
when somebody wants a break.
Yeah, that works. Because we kind of need to figure out, like, we know that we're going in that direction, but we need to kind of figure out a plan of how we're going to travel there and our plan of attack if we get ambushed and stuff like that. So
Because
we are
probably meteors.
How long does
Yes.
it take you to make Jasper?
10 minutes.
Okay. I don't know if I want to eat a berry or not.
I can
Wow.
carry you, little one.
Well,
Why wouldn't you?
What if I lose my, my thing? Where I can see things before they happen. I've always wanted to get rid of it, but I don't know if I really do.
It didn't affect me the same way. I learned the same way you did.
What do you mean?
What?
I learned how to play music and manipulate the arcade.
But I never learned that. It's always been with me. It's only I learned the spells, but I didn't learn to see things before they happen. I don't know. Plus,
I guess.
what if I ate the berry that would have sprouted?
You can't.
I can carry little one. Don't worry about it.
Okay, but also I'm really fragile. What if you drop me and I break?
That's-
I want you to drop and break
no
it, right?
refunds. You break it, you buy it.
You're basically the
Don't
last
worry. One round.
thing keeping me from just leaving Mesomasca.
Hmm. Well, thank you for that. So anyway, I don't know what to do. But maybe I won't. Maybe I won't take one just yet. Maybe I'll hold off and see what happens when we. But what if they only?
Well, I guess.
Yeah, what if they only work here? What if they don't work when we get home and I'll be stuck with my funny leg?
Then
Well,
we'll find some other way.
okay. We'll hold off on it. If it feels like it's necessary, we'll make you. We'll give you one. You'll eat one then.
Also, what if I get slimed again? That would be wasted. Okay, I won't take one right now, but maybe
Okay.
I'll take one before
Take
we
one
go
later.
back.
Before we sleep, maybe.
Before we go back.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they'll spoil. I mean, the question I have is why he didn't eat one before. I mean, if they cure, maybe they only cure if you take them soon enough. Maybe he was. Oh, there's so many things to wonder about.
Put them on the pile.
All the
And while
all
we
the
and while
questions
we
can
wonder
ask
about
later,
them,
but Jaden
we'll let
and-
Mora. Actually, that's the thing I want to
Jaden
check.
and Bartolus need our help.
It's true. It's true.
So we need to be in top form, and we need to be ready and ready for whatever happens.
Yeah. That's true, too. Okay, I'll eat one.
Sure. All right. I need you to make a con save. I should have asked for Peggy Sue as well. So if you want to make one for her while you're doing this, get a 2-for-1 in.
Yeah, okay, she'll do hers first. That's gonna be tough. 10. Oh no, 3. 3.
Okay.
That's even worse. Well, we'll get to see what happens when you fail. What happened to her? I want to know that before I roll this. Since it happened so long ago.
Nothing changed.
Oh, it worked the same way?
Yep. She lost her fire and grew flesh and feathers.
Huh.
I guess
Well, that's
the con
weird.
save is more about how painful it is.
Yeah, did I experience? I mean, well, I don't know. You already said so. Okay, well, now here's mine. 22.
Oh, not too shabby. All right.
There's a reason
Strong
I took
little
resilient.
Bright is the tankiest.
Took resilient for a reason.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Hardy gnome that
Okay.
might be fragile.
Yeah.
Well, not
Um,
anymore.
We're
Okay.
people of great contradictions.
So... Bright, you are also put in racking pain as your leg shrinks back to match the other one where it should be, and all the fissures in your skin seal up. But I mean, you could just almost hear like a like a broken glass sound, kind of like a grindy or like ceramic kind of rubbing against each other as her body knits itself back together. Bright, your second floof just spills out the side of your head like a bunch of noodles. Doesn't hurt though, but you have 2 floofs now.
Okay. I'll take care of that at the break.
Yeah, that's okay.
She's now in 2 fluked. Her hair's been restored.
I've been refloofed. That's the best thing. I mean, it would grow back, but it would take a couple of years. So I'm glad.
And I don't know if you have any tattoos or scars that I'm not familiar with.
No, nothing like that.
Okay. I can't heal your emotional scars, I'm sorry, but any physical ones will suck back into your flesh.
Okay.
Okay. Though the visions that you've had waver in your mind. And this is manifesting like your remaining portents. You have 1 left, I think.
Nope, I used them both.
Oh, you used them both? Okay. For Bright, whatever it feels like or whatnot, this kind of your portent ability, you translate in character, feels like fuzzy and distant, like it's not weighing on you, it's not suppressing, or it's not weird, or there's no real sense of danger because of a kind of a distance to it. Now, you don't have any portents to use, but similar to how I was describing for the professor and his detachedness to this gauntlet, your divination is kind of wavery. Mechanically, you don't need to change your spells, but this is a roleplay prompt or something along those lines for you to feel like there's that weight on your mind that's gone now. Or at least it's not overbearing. It's,
Yeah.
It's suppressed somewhat, but it's not gone completely.
Yeah.
It
So,
seems like.
why don't we? I mean, are we gonna take the break? Because I need to regrow my floof.
Yeah, we've been going for about 2 hours. We can certainly get up and take a break. This might be a time to do so. I don't think Casimir wanted to eat a berry, but if so, we can start with Casimir.
Yeah, no, Casimir's enjoying his new body.
A little too much.
Yes, he made off like a bandit with those goddamn mutations.
Yeah,
he did.
This is D&D. Y'all aren't supposed to have fun. All right, but anyway, everyone out there, let's take a 10-minute break, and we'll come back and we'll see what the party does now with this information, the time and gifts that they have. Be right back, everyone.